Hi, I'm Robi, also known as ambroscrochet somewhere on the internet, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this little corgi. So if at any point you enjoyed the tutorial, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment. If you plan on making a corgi, maybe leave me a dog emoji. If you want to subscribe, I post tutorials, and yeah, I think we can just get to it. If at any point you have any doubts about the tutorial, feel free to shoot me a question in the comments. I get back to them as soon as I can, and yeah, I'm done. Okay, so here's what we are going to need. We are going to need some yarn. I went with the two colors, this kind of orange and the white, and then we are going to need a crochet hook to match that yarn. So that's going to be a 3mm crochet hook for me, and then some scissors, pins, tapestry needle. I used two 8mm safety eyes for the eyes and one 6mm safety eye for the nose, and then we are going to need some toy stuffing. Here are the stitches we will be working with. So we'll be using magic ring, single crochet, increase, single crochet, decrease, chain stitch, and we will work in back loops only. We will also use quite a bit of color changes. I'm going to show you how to do those, but just in case. Okay, so we're going to start by making the head, and we are going to start with the white yarn. So we are going to start with a magic ring. And round one is going to be 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And then we close the magic ring, and round two is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 increase repeated 3 times. So at the end we are going to have 9 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once round 2 is done, we can move on to round 3, which is going to be 2 single crochets and then 1 increase repeated 3 times. So at the end we are going to have 12 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so now that round 3 is done, we move on to round 4, and I zoomed you in so that I could show you how to make the color change. I'm going to show you 2 ways. I'm going to use the second one, but just in case if you prefer the first one, that's obviously as fine. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you want to loop the second color around your index finger, and then you take your crochet hook and you grab onto that loop and you pull it through the first stitch, the first loop on your crochet hook, so like this. And then you take the tail of the first color, which is the white one in this case, and you pull. Okay, and by doing that you basically give yourself a new loop to then start working with the second color. So basically you keep making single crochets but using the orange tail instead of the white one. Now something that sometimes you do when it comes to changing colors is you also cut the tail. So basically you would cut this yarn right here, but because this pattern goes in between white and orange, and it keeps going in between white and orange, and because it's so small, I found that it's more efficient to keep both colors, so to carry through. That's how you usually say you carry through both colors, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So basically, so round 4, and I'm going to repeat it later, this is just as you know, just to show you. It's going to start with 1 increase in the first single crochet. So what you do is you insert the crochet hook into the next stitch as you normally would, and you make sure that, and this should happen naturally, but just in case, you make sure that your crochet hook is underneath these 2 tails that you're not using. So this is the leftover orange, and then we have the white tail. So those 2 tails that you're not using should be above the crochet hook but below the orange tail that you are using. Okay, so they should be in between those 2 things, and then you grab the orange tail, so you yarn over, pull through, and now your crochet hook should be able to go above the 2 unused tails, okay, while the orange tail is underneath those 2 tails. So you then yarn over again, pull through, and you finish making your single crochet. So you can see that the 2 tails are kind of trapped in between the stitch, and that's what you want. And then I'm going to show you one more time. So insert the crochet hook into the same stitch, because it's going to be an increase. And make sure that the two tails that you're not going to be using are in between the crochet hook, which is underneath those two tails, and the orange tail that you are using, which is above those two tails. And then you yarn over, pull through, and now your crochet hook is above those two tails while the orange tail is below those two tails. So you yarn over, pull through, and that's just how you should work the whole way. So that basically, you see, if now we have to switch to the white color, you immediately have the white tail right here, so you can just quite effortlessly go in between the orange and the white, because you can just grab onto the white and basically repeat that. Okay, so that's one way of changing colors. I'm going to show you the second one, which is the one that I'm going to be using. So this is the penultimate stitch of round 3, so I still have to make the last stitch. Now when it comes to this way of changing colors, you don't finish making the last stitch in the previous color, so you just do the first step, which is basically yarn over, pull through. Okay, so this is just the beginning of the single crochet. You don't finish making the single crochet. So when you're here and you have 2 loops in your crochet hook, you take the orange yarn, and once again, you know, you can create the loop on your index finger. You grab onto that loop and you pull it through both loops in your crochet hook, so 1 and 2, so that basically you finish making the single crochet with the orange color instead of the white one. And then when it comes to carrying through both colors, it's the exact same thing, so as I showed you before. So this is the way that I'm going to use, and now round 4 is going to be 1 increase in the first single crochet, still using the orange yarn, and then 1 increase in the next single crochet, and then in the next single crochet we're still going to be making 2 single crochets, but one is going to be orange and then the second one is going to be white. So what we do is we go into the next single crochet and then we make 1 orange single crochet, go to the white. So in my case, I'm not finishing that single crochet because again, I'm going to be using the second method of changing colors, and in that same stitch we make 1 single crochet in white this time. Okay, and then in the next single crochet we are going to make 1 single crochet in white, and then once again we change colors, and in that same stitch we make 1 single crochet in orange. So we've made 2 increases, and it went orange single crochet, white single crochet in the first increase, and the second increase is white single crochet, orange single crochet. Okay, so next we make 1 increase in the next single crochet, still in orange, and again 1 increase in the next single crochet, still in orange. And then we are going to go back to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the remaining 6 single crochets. Okay, so that's round 4 done, and you should have 18 single crochets. Now round 5, we go back to the orange and we start by making 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, and then 1 increase in the next single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, 1 increase in the next single crochet, and 1 single crochet in the next single crochet. So you should have reached the end of the first orange segment, so we're going to switch to the white and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2, and then we go back to the orange and we make one single crochet, then one increase in the next single crochet, one single crochet in the next single crochet, one increase in the next single crochet, and one single crochet in the next single crochet. So you should have reached the end of the second orange segment. So we go back to the white and we are going to finish the round by making one single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. So you should have 22 single crochets at the end of round 5. Okay, so once round 5 is done, before we move on to round 6, I wanted to place the nose. So you take the 6mm safety eye and you place it into the beginning magic ring. Okay, now because of the way we started making the single crochets in the magic ring and where we started increasing and all of that, it might happen that the nose leans a little bit to the side. So if you want to, you can kind of move the nose, and instead of placing it into the magic ring, you can place it, for example, a little bit to the side, so into the between the first and the second round. But in my experience, it looks best if you place it in the magic ring, even if it looks like it leans a little bit to the side. But it's up to you and it's your choice, but I'm going to place it into the magic ring. And then I'm going to place the safety off camera, and then we move on to round 6. Okay, so we go back to the orange, and round 6 is going to be one single crochet in each of the first 2 single crochets, then one increase into the next single crochet, then one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, then one increase into the next single crochet, and then one single crochet into the next single crochet. So you should have reached the end of the first orange segment. So I'm going to untangle myself one moment. Okay, that's better. So we go back to the white and we make one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. Then we go back to the orange and we are going to make one single crochet in the first single crochet, then one increase in the next single crochet, one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, one increase in the next single crochet, and then one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So we've reached the end of the second orange segment. So we go back to the white and we are going to make one single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. Okay, so once round 6 is done, we can move on to round 7, and we are going to switch to the orange, and we are going to make one single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets, then one increase in the next single crochet, then one single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets, then one increase in the next single crochet, and then we are going to make one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So you can see I'm going to be making one single crochet in orange into the white, and that's how it should be, because you can see that the stripe in white is starting to curve because we're working in rounds. So I want to keep it somewhat straight, so that's why I'm moving over basically by 1 stitch, but that's not going to change the number of stitches in the round. Okay, we're just moving basically the whole thing 1 stitch over. So one single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, and then we go to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. And once again, we're going to be making 1 white single crochet into the orange single crochet for the same reason. And then we go back to the orange, and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, then 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets, then 1 increase into the next single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So once again, we're going to be making 1 single crochet into the white single crochets, and then we go back to the white, and we are going to be making 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. So the last white single crochet is going to be worked into the first orange single crochet of the previous round, still for the same reason. Okay, so that's round 7 done, and round 7 has 30 single crochets. So now we move on to round 8, and we go back to the orange, and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 11 single crochets. Then we go back to the white, 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, then we go back to the orange, and 1 single crochet in each of the next 11 single crochets. And then we switch to the white, and we are going to finish by making 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. Okay, so that's round 8 done, and we still have 30 single crochets, so we just made 1 single crochet in each stitch but changing colors. Okay, now so before we move to round 9, I wanted to place the safety eyes. So we are going to place the safety eyes between rounds 5 and 6. So if you remember, the first round where we did the color change is round 4. So this is round 4. So 4, 5 in between rounds 5 and 6. And you want to place the safety eyes about 3 to 4 single crochets from the color change. So I'm gonna tell you. So the color change, I mean this one. So you count 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like 3.5. And you want to, or if you want to, you can also place them a little bit closer to the color change. It really depends on how you like them best. So you can kind of try and test, like you can look at it and just decide if you like it best when it's like so, or by moving the eyes 1 stitch above that. Okay, so I think because I usually make them by placing the eyes above that, I think I'm gonna try and do it like so this time. So I'm going to be placing these safeties off camera, and then we are going to move to round 9. So we go back to the orange, and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 24 single crochets. So you are going to be making the orange single crochets into the white single crochets right here. And then we change to the white, and we're going to finish the round by making 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. Okay, next we move on to round 10. So we go back to the orange, And we are going to start the round by making 2 single crochets and 1 decrease repeated 6 times. That's not going to be the end of the round, it's just the first part of the round. So just 2 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. Okay, and once those are done, we go back to the white and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the remaining 6 single crochets. So we now have 24 single crochets and we are done with the white for the head, so we can cut the white tail, and we are going to go back to the orange, and round 11 is going to be just 2 single crochets and 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So that's going to be the whole round, and I'll see you once those are done. Okay, so once round 11 is done, we can move on to round 12, which is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we are going to have 12 single crochets, and I'll see you once those are done. Okay, so once round 12 is done, before we move on to round 13, because it's going to be the last round, you want to stuff the head, and then round 13 is going to be 6 decreases. So at the end we are going to have 6 single crochets, and I'll see you once those are done. Okay, so next we are just going to slip stitch, and we cut the yarn leaving quite a long tail because I'm going to be using that tail to both fix the last round, which is something that we are going to need for the body as well, so I'm going to show you now, and also I'm going to be using it to shape the head, and if I have enough yarn I'm also going to use it to sew the head to the body, but I'll see. So I left quite a long tail. So okay, so first of all I'm going to show you how to fix that last round so that you don't see it as much. So you insert the needle into the same stitch where you made the last slip stitch, and then you immediately or also insert the needle onto the into the last single crochet that you made, specifically in the front loop of that stitch, which is the loop that's opposite you. Even though it's the furthest one away, it's still the front loop, because if you were to be working on it, that would be the front loop. So then you pull, and then you go back into the opposite side on the next single crochet, still in the front loop, and immediately into the front loop of the opposing stitch. And then one last time, even though it's a little bit more difficult to see now, but also in those last 2 single crochets. And now you can see you have maybe some raised stitches here, so you can go back and just sew them down. So you go into that stitch and you just sew it down. And yours is probably going to look better because this orange yarn is absolutely terrible, but hopefully yours isn't. So you can go back and do it again if you need to. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to shape the eyes. So you can bring the yarn through the needle, obviously, to the front, so specifically above the eye. Either one of the eyes works, but I just chose this one. So don't pull yet, because that's going to pull the back of the head, and it's not what we want. So next, what you do is you insert the needle, basically covering one round, still keeping yourself on the top part of the eye. So you can insert the needle either here or here. We're going to go both ways. I'm going to start by going here. So I just insert the needle here, and then I have it come out in the same spot on the other side, so still above the eye, right here. And I'm not pulling quite yet because that would still pull on the back of the head, which is not what we want, so I'm going to wait. So we do the same on the other eye, so I insert the needle here, and we go back to the other side, still having the needle come up on the top of the eye, and this time we can pull a little bit, so I'm going to show you what that does. So if I pull now, it pulls the eye inwards into the head, okay, which is what we want. So I'm also going to do it by going this way this time, so still above the eye but in the opposite direction, and I have the needle come out on the other side, and this time we can pull on this eye as well. So you pull just a little bit and then repeat that on the other side. And you can keep doing that as much as you like until you get the shape that you want. Okay, and if you want to, obviously you can also like shape by going a little bit above the eyes. So if you want to maybe go here as well, you can. I'm gonna see what it looks like at the end. I think so far it looks cute enough. So next we're going to work on the ears. Okay, so next we're going to work on the ears. So I'm going to be using the orange yarn, and we start with the magic ring. And round 1 is 6 single crochets into the magic ring. Then we close the magic ring, and round 2 is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 increase, repeated 3 times. So at the end we are going to have 9 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once round 2 is done, we move on to rounds 3 and 4, because both of those rounds are just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of round 3 and at the end of round 4 we will still have 9 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once that is done, we are just going to slip stitch and then cut the yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail so that we can sew the ear to the head. And you want to make 2 of these. Okay, so next we're going to work on the body. So you are going to start with the white yarn, and we are going to make 12 chain stitches. Okay, so starting from the second chain from the hook, we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 chains. Okay, and once we get to the last chain, in that last chain we make 3 single crochets. So by making 3 single crochets in that last chain, you see that we now can turn the work and work on the opposite side of that chain. So we're going to work on this side of the chain, and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 chains. And then in that last chain we are going to make 2 single crochets. Okay, so now we have round 1 done, and we have 24 single crochets. So round 2 we are going to make 1 increase in the first single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 single crochets. Then 1 increase in the next single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next single crochet, 1 increase in the next single crochet, then 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 single crochets, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the next single crochet. So we now have 28 single crochets, and we move on to round 3. So round 3 is going to be 1 single crochet in the first single crochet, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, then 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 single crochets, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, then 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, then 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 single crochets, then 1 increase in the next single crochet, and we finished the round by making 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So we now have 32 single crochets, and next we move on to round 4 and we go back to making color changes, so we need the orange yarn. So round 4, first we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the first 3 single crochets, and then we change colors. We go to the orange and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 single crochets. And then we switch back to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. And then we switch back to the orange and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 single crochets. Then we go back to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 single crochets. Okay, so that's round 4 done, and round 5 is going to be the exact same. So 3 single crochets in white, 10 single crochets in orange, 6 single crochets in white, 10 single crochets in orange, and 3 single crochets in white. So I'll see you once those are done. Okay, so once round 5 is done, we can move on to round 6, and round 6 is going to be still using the white, 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 single crochets. So we are going to end up making 1 white single crochet into the orange, and that's because of the same reasons that I explained when we made the head. So it's to keep things a little bit more a little bit straighter, I suppose, because we tend to turn with the rounds, and when it comes to the color changes, I want to keep them a little bit straighter. So then we make in orange 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 single crochets, and we are going to end up making 1 orange single crochet into the white for the same reasons, and then we switch to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets, and then we go back to the orange and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 single crochets, and then we go back to the white and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. Okay, so that's round 6 done. Next we move on to round 7. So we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 single crochets, then we switch to the orange and we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 8 single crochets. And if you want to, you can cut the white now because we're done with using it, but we are going to need it to sew the white part of the head to the white part of the body. So you can cut a bit of a longer tail, or you can use a completely new tail when it comes to sewing the head. It's up to you. I'm going to leave a longer tail from the body, and I have to finish making my 8 single crochets. Okay, so once you've made those 8 single crochets, we are going to make 6 chains. And once you've made those 6 chains, you are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets, and into the 11th single crochet, or if you want to, you can count skipping 2 single crochets in the orange section on the other side, and we are going to single crochet in that single crochet. So you've basically created almost a little bridge, you know, between these two sides, and we are going to keep crocheting on this side, and we are going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 10 single crochets. And if you end up making 1 single crochet in the previous round, don't worry, it's kind of not important right now, so if that happens, don't worry about it. So that's round 7 done. Next we move on to round 8, and round 8 is going to be 5 single crochets and 1 decrease repeated 4 times. So at the end we are going to have 24 single crochets, and I'm going to show you what we are going to do once we get to the chain. Okay, so you can see I've reached the chain now. I'm going to get the white tail out of the way. So I've reached the chain now, and basically what you want to do is you want to single crochet into the chain and decrease into the chain if need be. So I'm just going to basically go from the single crochets into the chain as you just normally would single crochet into a chain. Okay, now when it comes to making the decrease in the chain, that might be a little bit more difficult because it's more difficult to make a decrease in the chain, but I wanted to keep the decreases even, so then you just keep single crocheting into the chain. And then once you are done with the chain, you go back to the single crochets right here. Okay, so once round 8 is done, we can move on to round 9, which is going to be 2 single crochets and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we are going to have 18 single crochets, and you just keep making your single crochets on the chain, so you keep working right here. Okay, so I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once round 9 is done, we can move on to round 10, which is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease repeated 6 times. So at the end we are going to have 12 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once round 10 is done, we can move on to round 11, which is just going to be 6 decreases. So at the end we are going to have 6 single crochets, and I'll just see you once I have those done. Okay, so once that is done, we are going to slip stitch, and then we are going to cut the yarn, leaving a bit of a long tail because we're going to be using the tail to also fix that last round. And if you haven't left the tail on the head, you might need this tail to also sew the head, so you want to leave a little bit of a longer tail. And to fix that last round, we do the same thing that we did for the head, sorry. So when it comes to stuffing the body, you want to stuff it so that you flatten this part as much as possible. So don't stuff it so much that you basically raise this part, that it ends up being like so, because you want it to be, you know, the back of the corgi, so you want to keep it reasonably flat. So place the stuffing so that it goes more towards the width of the body instead of the height of the body, and you can finish stuffing the front part once you are almost done sewing. That might be sewing the head, that might be easier. Okay, so next we're going to make the legs. So we are going to start with the magic ring, and we are going to make 6 single crochets into the magic ring for round 1. And then we close the magic ring, and round 2, which is also going to be the last round, is going to be worked in back loops only, and it's going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 increase repeated 3 times. So at the end we are going to have 9 single crochets, again worked in back loops only. So I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once that is done, we are going to slip stitch and then cut the yarn, leaving just a little bit of a tail so that we can sew the legs to the body. You want to make 4 of these, and most of the times I actually do not stuff them because they're so small that you don't really need to stuff them. You can give them their shape back a little bit once you're done crocheting them, so that the first round works as, you know, kind of like the flat part that's going to go on the desk. And yeah, you want to make 4 of these. Okay, so next we're going to work on the tail. So we are going to make it in orange, and we are going to start with the magic ring. And round 1 is going to be 6 single crochets into the magic ring. And round 2 is going to be 1 single crochet and then 1 increase repeated 3 times. So at the end we are going to have 9 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, and round 3, which is also the last round, is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch. So at the end of round 3 we will still have 9 single crochets, and I'll see you once I have those done. Okay, so once that is done, we are just going to slip stitch and then cut the yarn so that we have a little bit of a tail to sew the tail to the body. Okay, so when it comes to sewing the ears, first of all you want to fold the ear and flatten it, and I flattened it so that the tail would be on one side. It doesn't really change anything, it's just that it's easier than to sew, so to have the tail basically to sew. And I placed the ears on round 11 of the head, which is the first round where we don't have the color change right here. So you can see it's the first round where we have all orange stitches here, and I placed the ears about 2 stitches from that color change. So the color change, even though it's not on that round, you can still kind of use it as a guide. So it's about 2 stitches from that color change, or you can count 4 to 5 stitches on still on round 11 from the color change at the bottom. So right here and right here. Okay, and when it comes to sewing the ears, so the way that I do it is I go first into the head, and then you go into both sides of the ears. So you go both here, and then you have the needle come out on the corresponding stitch on the opposite side, so right here. And then you just keep going along the stitches, and you go again into the head and into the ear on both sides. Okay, so next we're going to sew the head to the body, and you have some freedom when it comes to sewing the head to the body. So as long as you if you're sewing the head straight, make sure that the white part on the head corresponds to the white part on the body like this, and then you can sew it having the corgi kind of look up a little bit or look up a little less. You can also sew it so that the corgi is looking to the side. That's also, I think, quite cute. I might do that actually for this one. So yeah, it really is up to you. And when it comes to sewing it, so I'm going to pin the head, decide how I want to sew it first of all, and then pin the head. So I think something like this. So I'm pinning it so that the corgi is looking up a little bit and the head is turned not too much. So As you can see, when the head looks up a little bit more, so when the head is tilted like so, when it comes to sewing the back of the head to the body, you're going to end up sewing some rounds of the body. So you end up sewing, for example, starting from here instead of from the last round of the body, which would be right here. The chains, if you remember, that we made, so these ones. But because the head is tilted upwards, you are going to end up sewing right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the orange tail, and I'm just going to show you a couple of stitches because it's all the same. I am going to switch to the white when it comes to sewing this part, but you know, you just do as you prefer. So I go into the body. No. Okay, into the body and then into the head, and you just sew basically where you pinned it, so that, you know, the head stays in the same place as where you pinned it. So into the body and then into the head. Okay, and then I'm just going to go to the white tail to sew that part, and if I need to keep stuffing a little bit of the front of the body, I'm going to do that, and I'll be back once that is done. Okay, so when it comes to placing and sewing the legs, you want to place the legs between round 2 and 3 of the body. So basically you want to start placing the legs right below the collar change, and then wherever it falls, it should fall in between rounds 1 and 2, or in the middle of round 1. I think that should give you enough of a parameter to place the legs. And then when it comes to placing them, like, I place them so that, if you can see that, you can see that's the collar change, right? And so I place the legs so that the line from the collar change kind of falls in the middle of the leg itself. Okay, and then I counted 5 to 5.5 stitches in between the front leg and the back leg on both sides, and that's kind of how I place them. But as usual, you know, you can also go by eye and check if they look good to you. So next, when it comes to sewing them, it's fairly simple. So I just go into the body, and then I go into the single crochet on the leg, and then again into the body, and then again you grab the top of the single crochet on the leg and into the body, okay, and then you repeat that for the 4 legs. Okay, so when it comes to sewing the tail, we have to sew the tail on round 7 of the body, which you can see because it's the last white round right here. So we are going to fold the tail in half, and I'm going to leave the tail to sew the tail on one side so that it's just easier. And I'm going to place the tail so that you have the same remaining amount of white stitches on either side. So that should be about 1 single crochet. So you can see I have 1 single crochet in white on this side, which is right here, and 1 single crochet in white on this side, which is right here. So you can sew the tail either, you know, you can sew it like so, you can, I'm going to sew it so that it's kind of like pointing downwards, and the way that you do it is you just go into the first orange round like this, and then I go into the tail on both sides of the tail. So it's the same thing that we did for the ears, but it's just in a different position. The tail is just in a different position compared to the ears, but the idea is exactly the same. So you make sure to go into both sides of the tail before you make the stitch that goes into the body. Okay, and we're done. Okay, so we have our little corgi. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. This was a cursed tutorial. This is the 4th time that I'm filming this because every time I ended up having issues. I don't know, if this one has issues, you will never see it and I will never do it again. So we hope that this doesn't. So leave me a like, leave me a comment if you enjoyed it. Those are always very much appreciated. If you want to subscribe, I post tutorials and crochet stuff. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any requests, just let me know. If you have any doubts, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I always reply to them as soon as I can. And I think that's it. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.